Assalamualaikum, Milana Salahin. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bai Jie from Robust Technology. Welcome to the launch ceremony of APCEA Sustainable Development Report 2021. It's my great honor to celebrate this moment with all of you here today. We are honored to have His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Sadiq Sanjrani, Chairman of the Senate of Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Nong Rong, Ambassador of China to Pakistan, His Excellency Mr. Moshahid Hussain Syed, Chairman of PCI, His Excellency Mr. Khalid Mansour, as APM on the CPEC affairs, His Excellency Mr. Xie Guoxiang, Minister Counselor for Economic and Commercial Affairs of China Embassy in Pakistan, Honorable Yang Jianduo, Chairman of APCEA. Let's give a warm welcome to all the distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you all to please rise in order to pay respect to the national anthems of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the People's Republic of China. Ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2021, CPEC called great progress towards high-quality development despite our challenges of COVID-19. We are all pleased to see that great joint efforts by both China and Pakistan and many new milestones achieved in this year. First of all, let's watch a short documentary.
Marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Pakistan. Over the past 70 years, China and Pakistan have always trusted and supported each other through all the changes in international and regional situations. Their relations are an outstanding example of good neighborliness.
A very great video and excellent job done by the joint team of APCEA and PCI. We can see Chinese empresses took on social responsibilities to operate in Pakistan. Thanks for their contributions. I also welcome who is from Gadar, Pakistan. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Yang Jianduo, Chairman of APCEA, to deliver a speech on the sustainable development practice by Chinese enterprises in Pakistan. Welcome, Mr. Yang.
His Excellency Chairman of Senate of Pakistan, Mr. Mohammad Sadiq Sanjrani, His Excellency Chinese Ambassador to Pakistan, Mr. Nong Rong, His Excellency Chairman of Senate Defense Committee, Mr. Moshahid Hussain, His Excellency Special Assistant to Prime Minister on CPEC Affairs, Mr. Khalid Mansour, His Excellency Mr. Xie Guoxiang, Minister Counselor for Economic and Commercial Affairs, and all distinguished guests at site and online. Good morning. I'm Yang Jianduo from PAO China. PAO China is a chair company of All Pakistan Chinese Enterprise Association, we call APCEA in short. First and foremost, on behalf of the association, I would like to extend the warmest welcome to all of you. And also, I deeply appreciate the strong support from the embassy and the PCI and the CRI, and the staff and the member companies who have worked very hard for this event. The association have the 3 branches in Islamabad, Karachi, and Lahore. At present, it has more than 200 members company covering fields as diverse as infrastructure, manufacturing, finance, energy, trade, aviation, security, and service industry. Since its establishment, the association has been committed to enhance the connectivity between member enterprise and the local industry, as well as commercial industries. So it has set up an information sharing and service platform that has led to the enlargement of the economic and the trade cooperation between 2 countries. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time of the association to launch the annual sustainable report. As shown in the video and the report, it is a collective result of the most Chinese enterprise working in Pakistan, and a vivid summary of the sustainable development practiced by the Chinese enterprise under the umbrella of CPEC. APCEA and its member companies are committed to fulfilling sustainable development in the form of the CSR, environment protection, green and safe production, integration into the local society. There are many examples of the models of social responsibility fulfillment, implementing eco-friendly development, communication and integration for the co-shared development. I may point out a few examples of it. For instance, in the coal mine project at Tar Block 2, sponsored by CMEC and the local partners, Chinese companies make contribution to achieve a co-shared bright future, like thousands of job opportunities were created for local people and for the development of the education. Also, we trained the dump trucks. Second, in Sandak district, Balochistan, one mining company, MCC Resources, voluntarily vaccinated nearly 400 villagers in the surrounding villages, which was highly praised by the local communities. This demonstrates the deep friendship between Chinese and the local people. Chinese companies have practiced the green development concept of the Belt Road Initiative and the CPEC. In Pakistan, the project conducted by Chinese enterprise strictly abide by the international and the Pakistan standard of environment protection. Even the emission standard is far superior to the World Bank's and the European standards. Under this principle, Chinese enterprise implemented a number of green, low carbon emission, ecological, and sustainable clean energy projects. For example, in Port Qasim power plant, sponsored by Power China, had ensured that all industry wastewater has been treated and recycled. The wastewater has to zero discharge, which greatly preserves the freshwater resources. In addition to this, to protect the Arabia Sea local marine ecosystem, Power China planted 125 acres of mangroves, and hence a lot of birds and marine life has resettled in this area. Next is in Gwadar. Chinese Overseas Port Holding Corporation Limited, together with Yulin Holding Corporation Limited and the relevant universities, established the Belt and Road Tropical Arid Economic Forest Engineering Technology Research Center, as well as create the first Chinese-Pakistan Friendship Forest. And in Punjab, the hub of industrial cooperation, China Huanan Sahiwal Power Plant has also built Huanan Vocational Training School, which is open to all the public and free of charge. Every year, a number of the vocation and technical training for 600 to 800 Pakistani youths each year, such as welding, electrician, and thermal power simulators. Through today's event and this report, we wish to have more communication with Pakistan society, including the exchanges between the youth of two countries. Through effective communication, we hope to achieve great understanding, support, and cultural integration. Through today's event and this report, we wish to encourage more Chinese enterprise to fulfill its CSR and benefit the local society. Our association consistently works for the sustainable development and strive to contribute to the local people's livelihood. Currently, CPEC has entered its new phase. A lot of new Chinese enterprise has been established themselves into the different business sectors, especially in the field of the industrial cooperation and the agriculture cooperation, like Shanghai Automobile, Transition Technology, Hire, Challenge, and Long March Tire. They will become the new force of the association and become as well as the sustainable development to the Pakistan society. Building a sustainable world, country, and enterprise is a deeply rooted and well-connected concept. We believe that under the influence of the high-quality construction of the CPEC and under the guidance of the Pakistan-China eye-clad friendship, we will continue to pursue sustainable development and add a new significance to the Pakistan economy and China-Pakistan friendship. Thank you all. Thank you. Parching Doste Zinabad.
Thank you, Mr. Yan. Your introductions have showcased the meaningful work done by Chinese enterprises in promoting socio-economic development and jointly building the CPEC. Let's work hard for more fruitful cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm pleased to invite His Excellency Mr. Khalid Mansour, as APM on CPEC affairs, to deliver a speech. Welcome.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Chairman Senate, my old friend, Ambassador of China, again a friend, Mr. Nong Rong, Mushahid Saab, and honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, ni hao. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this very important milestone where the challenge I have been really facing ever since I joined this job, that virtually very little dissemination as to what has been accomplished in CPEC. I would like to take few minutes to share with you my personal experiences as to what has been accomplished and what we are intended to achieve as we go along. At the foremost, I had the brief opportunity to review the Sustainable Development Report 2021 by APCEA and CPI, and my compliments. It's a wonderful job to really document what has been accomplished. If we go back, I have a very a wonderful experience that in the past the Pakistan had been suffering one of the worst power crises in the history of its time. And unfortunately, what had happened that we had very little power, and whatever power we were producing, it was based on furnace oil, which is an important entity, and that was also causing the problem, the balance of payment. So I was assigned at that time, I was heading Engro, and unfortunately the biggest reserve of Pakistan in Thar, it had been unexploited for decades. And when we completed the bankable feasibility study, and we knew that it was technically and commercially viable proposition, that was the time to begin with. I had been working very closely with World Bank and IFC, but we went for the financing. They refused because they said that coal is a bad guy and they would not support it. So what happened? We reverted to all-weather friend Chinese, friends. We went to China, and I had the opportunity to accompany the then Prime Minister, and that was the time the major message from the Prime Minister was that please help us to alleviate the power crisis in Pakistan. So I had the opportunity to sit through the discussion between the top leadership, and that was the time the CPAC dream was evolved. And it really, found out an opportunity for win-win for both the countries, that China would help us in multiple, facets, which is alleviating the power crisis, helping Pakistan to develop our own energy resource in Thar, and also at the same time to realize the One Belt, One Road initiative of President Xi Jinping. And I immediately realized it was such an outstanding win-win situation. And if I were to really brief that what had happened ever since, that a package of $53 billion was envisaged, and the roadmap was also underlined that it's going to be a kind of long journey starting from 2015 to all the way up to 2030. The first phase was the early harvest project, which is already achieved. 5,300 megawatt of power has been generated. And it has got, the thermal power plant, it has got the coal mine in Thar, as you have just seen. It is, mine mouth power plants, it's a hydel project, it's a renewable project, and so on and so forth. And then more than 3,500 megawatt are under implementation. What I wanted to share with you, that I was directly involved in the development of almost $5 billion projects. And in that project, with the context of sustainable development, it was very clearly decided between Chinese and Pakistani enterprises that we will be working in parallel to develop the CSR related projects. So let me give you example of couple. The first project which was done in the province of, the senator and also the chairman of CPAC chairman of Senate, it is in the province of Balochistan, and there under the CPAC, health, education, physical infrastructure, and also constructing of jetty was done for the poor fishermen, and also supply of water on a daily basis. So more than a couple of $1 million project was earmarked in the project budget, and all those projects were very successfully implemented. And I know from my personal experience that the people have been so happy that it is not only a kind of project which is going to be generating power, but really looking after the core issues of the people. When we communicated that it's going to be the state-of-the-art technology coal-based power project, there were a number of apprehensions that it is going to be polluting the environment. So I remember in public hearing there was a lot of resistance, and one of the resistance came from Mr. Aslam Bhutani, that you will pollute this entire area. But I promised that publicly that it is going to be state-of-the-art technology, and I am telling you that looking at the sustainable development, tens of millions of dollars of technological implementations have been done, the intervention has been done. And when the project was completed, when the Prime Minister Imran Khan went there to inaugurate that, I took the entire people to the plant and I showed them that the plant floors are as clean as your drawing rooms. So if you look at the stack, there is hardly anything coming out there. So this is the contribution as far as environment or sustainable development was concerned. So what we put together with the Chinese, then I said that, look, this project which you are going to be constructing, it should be complied with the World Bank or IFC environmental standard. So they took me to China, and I looked at or personally visited number of huge, thousands of megawatt of power generation. So when I looked at the control room and the parameter of environment which were coming over there, I was amazed that their compliance to the environment is better than the World Bank and also the IFC standards. So that is what has been accomplished, and all the 3 coal-based power plants which have been constructed, whether those are imported coal projects or they are going to be the projects at Thar, they are compliant international standards, so nothing is happening as far as environment was concerned. So my compliment to my Chinese friends that this is the accomplishment, which they have helped us, and now we can stand very tall to tell people that these either imported coal-based power project or the mine mouth power projects, they have not done anything harm as far as environment was concerned. Now, if we look at the Thar, I have just seen the report and it was very, very, reflecting for me, because not only that I was the first CEO of Sindh Agro Coal Mining Company, but I was very actively involved in again social development over there. So strong engagement with the poor cross section of the people were done. And if you just imagine that we wanted to mine the coal from where they were residing. So very structured way the engagement was done. And if you have the opportunity, Mr. Nongrong, you please go there and see. I think Pakistan's biggest social action program has been done over there. The poor ladies of Thar, they are driving 100 tons dumper, and that is a world record, because this kind of intervention has not done anywhere. Then there's a health, there's an education, and so on and so forth. So as the Thar mine is going to be scaled up, and this is the solution which will be bringing energy security to Pakistan. Using this opportunity, I also wanted to really compliment Sahiwal power plant, because again, based on my experience, when we started to think how long it will take to build a coal-based power plant with supercritical technology, it was in the world experience 44 to 48 months. And imagine how many months they have taken to complete this project, 22 months. Then the other project which we have done in Thar, Mr. Ren is sitting over here, it was at least 36 months, it was completed in 28 months. State-of-the-art technology, and these are the projects which are providing a sustainable power, and now Pakistan is just ready to embark onto the phase 2, because previously we didn't have power, now we have power which is environmentally friendly, and as part of the phase 2, which is just kind of at the verge of happening, working very closely with the Chinese embassy, and inshallah the 10 joint working groups which have been formed, and the recent one was information technology, we are going to industrialize Pakistan, and that is going to bring in the prosperity. It is going to be on the strategy that it will have, import substitution and export orientation, and that is where the long-term prosperity of Pakistan will come. Together with that, we are working to achieve the vision of China, which is the regional connectivity, and look at the roads and the infrastructure, and that's why as part of the BRI, CPAC project is the flagship project. And when we look at the Gwadar, all the way from Xinjiang province to Gwadar, the road network which has been developed, it is going to creating the regional connectivity, which is one of the main objective of the framework. By road and also by sea, it is going to be the jewel in the crown. And I totally believe that. Had the opportunity to visit Gwadar also a few times, and just mention 3-4 outstanding projects which are being done over there. In addition to the brick and mortar, I'm happy that more than close to, I would say, 2,300 acres of land for free zone, and that is already there. And now the port is already there. Now we will be very soon embarking on to the marketing of the port and the free zone areas, and inshallah ta'ala you will see that we will convince our Chinese counterpart over there to relocate their industry from eastern part of China, which is labor intensive, and with that kind of relocation we will achieve these 2 objectives, which were also mentioned day before yesterday by the Prime Minister: import substitution and export orientation, inshallah. Last but not the least, the other accomplishments which have been done by APCEA and China-Pakistan Institute, I think in the socio-economic area, especially in Gwadar, the technical and the vocational institute, it's state-of-the-art, Ambassador Saab. I don't know whether you have seen that or not, but now we are trying to operationalize that with the cooperation of Hunar Foundation and Shandong, Technical Institute. And I have taken the responsibility for initial years to really operationalize that. And very soon, in the next 3 to 4 months, we will be inducting the youth over there. and then that will be the first the fruit of this socio-economic development. The hospital, it is 150 bed hospital. Again, it is going to be completed by the end of this year, and operationalization will also take place. That is going to be helping people. In addition to that, APCEA is creating a lot of potential joint venture relationship between the Chinese companies and the local companies over there. So with all that in place, I think it's a wonderful forum, and as we embark onto the phase 2, I would urge APCEA to try to create opportunity whereby we have the joint venture relationship. And it is pertinent to mention that now lot of focus is there on special economic zones as well. Only a week back, based on the strong recommendation of the Ambassador Nongrong, the Prime Minister has really modified the rules whereby the investors of China will not have to really move and obtain 37 approvals to start their businesses. And also one of the major accomplishments which had never happened, and that is that the management company of the special economic zone, they are going to be legally empowered. So they will be made responsible to ensure that all the approvals or permits or NOCs with the Chinese investors have to take over there, that will be done in the shortest possible time. And that is what I had experienced, that close to 15-16 companies which have established their businesses or establishing their business in Allama Iqbal Industrial City or M3. So when I visited there, they had lots of complaints that they are not getting the permits and so on and so forth. So we worked, the CPEC authority coordinated all these issues, and they came to meet Prime Minister and thanked him that all those issues have been resolved. And at that occasion, I remember that Prime Minister said that what else the people want from him. So I mentioned that CPEC authority is going to be the one window operation. It will be the facilitation center for the Chinese investor. So what Nongrong had said? He said, Mr. Prime Minister, you should be seen standing behind this window, so that in an effort by the CPEC authority to alleviate those problems, if those problems are not resolved, then you should be there to alleviate those problems. And now it is pertinent to mention that Prime Minister is taking progress after every 15 months. I know there are a number of issues which are being faced by the CPEC investors, whether it is the payment issue or establishment of revolving account, or withholding tax issue. So let me ensure you that all those issues have been brought to the attention of the Prime Minister. And very soon, I am very positive that inshallah all those issues will be resolved, and that will essentially enable me to very effectively embark onto the phase 2, and thereby we will leverage wherever it is required, whether Embassy of China or talking to the Chinese entrepreneur, and give them a proper business case that why Pakistan should be a preferred destination in comparison with the other potential countries like Bangladesh or Cambodia or Vietnam, etc. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, again, my heartiest congratulations. Mustafa, you have done a wonderful job together with APCEA, and continue this work, because until we really disseminate that what we have done in phase 1 and what is the potential for both China and Pakistan in CPEC 2, I think that is what we together need to do. Thank you very much again. Pak Chin Dosti, Zindabad, Pakistan, Paindabad.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, I'm honored to invite His Excellency Mr. Xie Guoxiang, Minister Counselor for Economic and Commercial Affairs of China Embassy, to deliver a speech. Welcome, sir.
His Excellency, Chairman of Senate, Mr. Sadiq Sanjarani, His Excellency, Ambassador Nongrong, His Excellency, Chairman of Senate Defense Committee and Pakistan-China Institute, Mr. Moshahid Hussain, and His Excellency Special Assistant to Prime Minister on CPEC Affairs, Mr. Khalid Mansour, Chairman of APCEA, Mr. Yang Jiandu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Today, we are gathering here to co-witness the exciting moment of the release of All Pakistan Chinese Enterprises Association Sustainable Development Report 2021. The very first release constitutes a landmark in the history of China-Pakistan economic and trade cooperation, and an important progress to the sustainable development of CPEC. Since the launching of CPEC in 2013, China-Pakistan economic and commercial cooperation drives into fast lane. China becomes the biggest trade partner to Pakistan consecutively for 7 years since 2014, and is the country made the most foreign direct investment in Pakistan for the past 8 years in a row since 2013. For the year of 2021, bilateral trade and economic cooperation bucked the trend of steep decline in global trend in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the China customers, bilateral trade from January to November last year reaches $24.7 billion, with an increase of 61% year on year. And the import from Pakistan arrives at $3.23 billion, increased by 78.2% year on year. According to the Ministry of Commerce of China, the non-financial direct investment to Pakistan surges as well, evidenced by 11 times increase year on year. So ladies and gentlemen, APCEA is an industry self-disciplined organization for all Chinese enterprises in Pakistan. It plays a very important role in promoting bilateral economic and trade cooperation, offering services to Chinese enterprises, guiding its members to perform the CSR, and bridging the gap between Chinese enterprises and local governments. Today, the debut of Sustainable Development Report marks the increasing influence of the APCEA and its internal driving force to be bigger and better. On the occasion of the beginning of the promising new year, I sincerely wish the APCEA, under the guidance of the two governments and the support from friendly institutes, could achieve more success to further promote the high-quality development of CPEC and play its unique role to help the strengthening of friendly relations between two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I'd like to once again extend my heartfelt appreciation to Excellencies, Chinese and Pakistani friends in presence for your kind attendance and long-lasting support to China-Pakistan economic and trade cooperation. Long live China-Pakistan relationship. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Now, I'm honored to invite His Excellency Mr. Moshahid Hossein Saeed, Chairman PCI, to deliver a speech. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and ni hao to the Chinese guests. Your Excellency, the Honorable Chairman of the Senate, Mr. Sadiq Sanjrani. And I would like to tell you, all the audience here, that his presence here makes a difference because he is not just a pillar of Pakistan-China friendship. Mr. Sadiq Sanjrani, as one of the most prominent national leaders of Pakistan, is also a bridge builder as chairman of the Senate between provinces and political parties. And now he's playing the role of a major bridge between China and Pakistan to strengthen the friendship. Thank you, sir, for your presence. Ambassador Nongrong, and your arrival here, despite the COVID, has made a difference because of your economic background. And I've seen that you have a non-bureaucratic approach. You are a doer. You get things done, tuck, tuck, tuck. Let's decide, rather than long speeches or other philosophical discussions. And I would also like to compliment Mr. Khalid Mansoor, who I think this is a very good choice of the Prime Minister to bring you in. I've known Khalid for a long time. He's from the private sector. And above all, he knows all of you very well. He's your voice also, the voice of the enterprises. So that's a very important thing. And I would like to compliment, and Senator Qada Babar is a very dear friend from Balochistan. He is one of the most prominent families of Gwadar and the Makran coast, and your presence here also makes a difference. I would also like to thank the All Pakistan China Enterprises Association, Mr. Yang Jiando, and of course Mr. She Guoxiang, the Minister Counselor of the Economic, and together with the Pakistan China Institute, Mustafa, you and your team, along with the Chinese Embassy, I think this was the need of the hour, launching the Sustainable Development Report. And as the chairman said in his foreword written for this report, that the Senate of Pakistan will play a role in promoting this facilitation. And it's very heartening that we learned from Mr. Khalid Mansoor that the long bureaucratic red tape of 37 regulations will now be slashed. So the Chinese companies, the Chinese business leaders will be facilitated without any impediments. Ladies and gentlemen, 2021 has been a very important year in Pakistan-China relations. Not just that we have a new special assistant on CPEC affairs in 2021, but 70 years of Pakistan-China relations, the diplomatic relations being established, and 100 years of the Communist Party of China. And during this period, the Communist Party of China, the 19th CPC Central Committee passed a very important resolution during its 6th plenary, where there is an emphasis on rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. And as President Xi Jinping said in his New Year address, a determination to take China's interests forward, building a new type of international relations in a community of shared destiny. 2022 is also going to be important. And I would like to, at the outset, wish good luck to China on the upcoming Winter Olympics. And it's very heartening that Prime Minister Imran Khan will be participating in that great event, along with other leaders of the international community. 2022 is also coming up very soon, the Chinese New Year of the Tiger. And the tiger exudes strength. The tiger exudes determination, and the determination to get things done. And this Year of the Tiger symbolizes the strength, the resilience of Pakistan-China relations also. Because 2022 is also the Platinum Jubilee year of Pakistan, 75 years when Pakistan has become an independent state. And in this period, we are proud of our friendship with China, which is a source of strength. And as Khalid Mansoor Saab said, and as other friends like Mr. Yang and Mr. She Guoxiang mentioned, CPEC is already a success story in the first phase. The energy crisis has been resolved. The Federation is being united through the infrastructure projects. Thar, we have seen the empowerment of women. Dead projects like Thar, we heard for 30, 40 years, they have been revived. 70 years, yes. They have been revived. When I was a child growing up, I said we have the 5th largest coal reserves in the world in Thar. We heard Thar is a place close to the Indian border in Rajasthan, in Sindh province. And those were never exploited. Now they are being mined. The mining are also being generated into electricity, which is going into the national grid. Because I visited Thar several times. And Gwadar port was a dream. It was talked about, but now it is the emerging hub of regional connectivity, linking up Pakistan with Afghanistan, Pakistan with the Central Asian republics of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. And of course, it's G to G, Gwadar to Gilgit and up north to Xinjiang province. So this is a new whole world opening up. And it is in this context, we are very clear the path which is forward for us. There is the Belt and Road Initiative launched by China and President Xi Jinping, of which CPEC is the flagship. BRI is all about connectivity, all about cooperation and win-win cooperation. That is why 145 countries and 32 international organizations have signed up. But there are certain voices, and I'd like to warn and give a caveat, which talk of a new Cold War, which talk of containment, which talk of conflict, which talk of confrontation. We reject those voices. We reject the boycott of the Beijing Olympics as something which is unacceptable because they are trying to mix sports with politics. This is not the future of Asia. This is not the future of the world. And also, that is why Pakistan did not take part, and this was a correct decision of the government, in the so-called democracy summit called by the United States, because it was not about democracy or human rights. It was a Cold War agenda. And this Cold War agenda of bloc politics, of division, of cleavages, of conflict, this is not what Pakistan would like for the future, not what Asia would want for the future. I feel that finally that CPEC is going to be taken forward, and I have some brief pieces of advice for the all Pakistan-China Enterprises Associations. 3 things. Number 1, please connect with the local communities. That is very, very important. I think that connection, and I'm glad in the report you mentioned the CSR which is being done, especially in the Sandak project in Balochistan, in Thar also in Port Qasim, you mentioned that. That is extreme. The connection with the local communities. So the local communities have a stake with the Chinese projects for their own personal well-being also. Secondly, what you have done, launched the Sustainable Development Report. As a former journalist and as a former Minister for Information, I know what is the importance of propaganda or media dissemination. It's important facts be given to counter the fiction. I was recently in Washington, and they have passed in American Congress an act called the Strategic Competition Act, which is China specific, and they are going to allocate $300 million for propaganda. It's called Countering China Influence Act. So we have to be more vigilant to counter disinformation, promote facts so the fiction can be exposed. And thirdly, it's important that APCEA also coordinate with stakeholders, consult with them, especially in Islamabad. And we in the Senate, under the leadership of the Chairman Senate, Mr. Sadiq Sanjrani, we are there, our doors are open. He has an open door policy. All problems can be solved, and both the Chairman Senate and Ambassador Nong Rong and Khalid Mansoor, all 3 are doers. They get things done. So I think if you have a problem, come to us. We are ready to resolve those problems, and I think 2022 has begun on an auspicious note, and God willing, inshallah, we will be able to cut through and build the second phase of CPEC and build Pakistan-China relations strongly, resolutely, as the spirit of the tiger demonstrates. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. He was very busy. He had been called for a special meeting by the Prime Minister, but he said, China first. And thank you, sir, for your time and patience. And I wish you all a very happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to invite His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Nong Rong to deliver a speech. Welcome.
His Excellency Chairman of Senate, Mr. Sadiq Sanjrani, His Excellency Chairman of Senate Defense Committee and Pakistan-China Institute, Mr. Musahid Hussain, His Excellency Special Assistant to the Prime Minister on CPEC Affairs, Mr. Khalid Mansoor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I am very glad to attend the launching ceremony of All Pakistan Chinese Enterprises Association Sustainable Development Report 2021. First of all, on behalf of the Chinese Embassy in Pakistan, I would like to extend my warm congratulations to APCEA on the release of APCEA Sustainable Development Report 2021, and express my sincere gratitude to Chairman of Senate, Chairman of Pakistan-China Institute, SNPM on CPEC Authority, and all friends who are committed to promoting China-Pakistan economic and trade cooperation and friendly communication for a long time, especially for Your Excellency's very excellent speeches just now. I have learned so much from you about Pakistan, about CPEC, about China-Pakistan relationship. For the remarkable last year, China and Pakistan held a series of celebrations to renew and enhance the 70 years Iron Brother friendship. Meanwhile, both sides have supported each other to fight against the pandemic and push forward the high-quality development of CPEC. Being encouraged and inspired, the Chinese companies who are active in Pakistan overcame many difficulties and mounting pressures to positively implement the major landmark projects under the CPEC framework and achieve tremendous success, making great contributions to local economic and social development in Pakistan. The handover of Lahore-Karachi motorway and KKH Phase 2 projects fully functions the north-south transportation artery. The power plants invested and constructed by Chinese company supply the price competitive and stable electricity to Pakistan national grid. Matiari to Lahore HVDC transmission line projects came into commercial operation in September 1st, making up the shortage of transmission line between south to north in Pakistan and solving the conundrum of power transmission from the south to north, especially the development and construction of the second phase of the Guada Free Zone and Rasakai SEZ were officially launched last year. Gradually, CPEC presents us the layout of economic cooperation period with power and energy, road and transportation, Guada port and industry. Up to now, CPEC has attached investment of $25.4 billion with an increase of 5,200 megawatts of generation capacity, 886 kilometers of core power transmission line, 510 kilometers of motorway, and the creation of 75,000 job opportunities at the height of construction. It lays a solid foundation for the development of Pakistan industrialization, urbanization, and digitalization. In the meantime, Chinese enterprises also positively devoted themselves to fulfilling CSR through capacity building, skill training, donation of schools and medical equipment, and so on. In fact, there are so many successful stories showcasing our friendly cooperation outcomes and a lot of CSR stories vividly interpreting the true friendship between us. However, what are compiled in the APCEA Sustainable Development Report 2021 is only just part of them. I'm hoping to hear more successful and friendly stories in the next report. Ladies and gentlemen, last year, on October 26th, President Xi Jinping, during a phone call with Prime Minister Imran Khan, stressed the high-quality development of CPEC through joint efforts and strengthening of cooperation on agriculture, digital economy, and socio-economic sector, aiming at continuously unleashing the positive effect of CPEC in promoting economic growth and improving people's livelihood. Prime Minister Imran Khan also expressed Pakistan's willingness to work closely with China to promote the development of CPEC and pragmatic cooperation in various fields. In this context, on the occasion of the beginning of the promising new year, I would like to propose that let's work together, shoulder by shoulder, hand in hand, to fully implement the important consensus reached by the leaders of our two countries and promote the high-quality development of CPEC, whatever the difficulties we will have, aiming to build a closer China-Pakistan community with a shared future in new era. Jindbad Dosti, Jindabad. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarkable speech. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm pleased to invite His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Sadiq Sanjrani, Chairman of the Senate of Pakistan, to deliver the keynote speech. Welcome.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. His Excellency Nong Rong, the Ambassador of China, His Excellency Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, Chairman Standing Committee on Defense, Senate, His Excellency Qauda Babar, Senator and especially from Gwadar, so we have to take care of him, and His Excellency Khalid Mansoor, Mustafa, and my other friends, Shazil from Lahore, he is also here today. Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to everyone. I am not a good speaker at all, like Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, but I will try to just say some words, I think, which will be giving some guidelines for the future, for the CPEC and for the investors coming from the China and also for the Pakistani, those who wants to work here. The launch of All Pakistan Chinese Enterprises Association annual report, I think it's good news. Because of this report, the people learn more about the CPEC and about the Chinese people, those who are working in the Pakistan. I think it will be a roadmap for them also. And because of this report, we will expect the more investment coming in Pakistan, inshallah. So by this mean, this event is of a great importance, given not only the brotherly ties between China and Pakistan, but also the trade linkages and trade potential we share. As such, I would like to appreciate Mr. Mustafa, the Executive Director, Pakistan-China Institute, for hosting this event. My dear friends, you all know very well the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted our plans for economic stabilization and growth. However, we not only managed to limit the infection spread, but maintained economic activity, limiting the economic fallout. This pandemic, as a challenge as it has been, has allowed Pakistan to review its economic policies to build back stronger. We must now focus on industrialization as a catalyst for development. I believe that this is the way forward for us. This is also why today's gathering holds great importance. As of last year, more than half of Pakistan's GDP contribution came from the services sector, followed by agriculture. Industry contributed the least to the GDP of Pakistan, around only 70%. As opposed to this, China manufacturing sector contributed approximately 39% to its economy. This, I believe, is an opportunity for Pakistan to focus on industrialization to meet not only our balance of payments and employment challenges, but also support our economic recovery and long-term development. Though we have witnessed several examples of industrialization promoting economic development around the world, none has been stunning as that of China. Today we are blessed to have the opportunity to learn from our closest friend, the manufacturing superpower, its shift to industrialization and its rapid economic growth. With its development, China has not only emerged as an economic superpower, but has also ignited growth across Asia, Latin America, Africa, and even the industrial West. It is now up to us, our businessmen, our industrialists, and our chambers of commerce to make the most of this relationship and develop linkages with their counterparts in China. Governments of both countries will do their part as moderator and regulator, but it is the private sector that has to pave way for industrial cooperation. I strongly believe that industrial development is a product of business to business linkages. In light of this, I would suggest that the All Pakistan Chinese Enterprises Association coordinate with the Federation of Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Pakistan and initiate dialogue for meaningful cooperation. Industrial growth and development in Pakistan can allow to reform its manufacturing sector and stimulate medium-term and long-term growth and job creations. This cooperation holds the potential for shifting some manufacturing and industry to Pakistan, allowing us to not only meet local demand and reduce imports from China, which stands at approximately $15.5 billion, but also to increase our exports to China, which currently stands at $2.3 billion, and to the rest of the world, improving our balance of payments. This does not mean that we reduce our focus on infrastructure development. The infrastructure and industrialization zones we have developed and are developing, especially those under the CPEC, will only prove beneficial through increased investment in manufacturing plants. Dear friends, with this, I hope to see the Pakistan-China Institute, the Federation of Chamber of Pakistan, our chambers of the provincials of commerce and business community and industrialists in meaningful dialogue with the All Pakistan Chinese Enterprise Association and our brothers in China, and look for the possibilities of joint ventures beneficial for both our countries. I am sure that our friends in China will be ready to extend any and all support that we require to achieve these goals. But we must take the first step. We have to work hard. We have to learn from our Chinese friends. I thank you all and request that you consider my suggestions for refreshing Pakistan's industry. I am sure that today's interaction will bear fruitful results. Pakistan, China, Dosti, Zindabad. Thank you.
Please open the report. Thanks, Your Excellency. Now, I'm pleased to announce the ending of the launch ceremony of APCEA Sustainable Development Report 2021.